You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Hello, America. It's Tuesday, and it's time for America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and we're about to get things kicked off. A couple things I want to get off my chest real quick, though, so let's go ahead and shut this down for just a moment, then we'll kick the intro off properly here in just a second. So we've got lots of stuff to talk about today. So we've got this Day Without Women that's supposed to take place tomorrow. We've got the Republicans caving on health care. We've got the media absolutely still going nuts over this whole potential Russian connection with Trump. We've got President Trump talking about the fact that he thinks that Trump Tower may or may not have been wiretapped before the election. New York Times saying something very similar about that. But, of course, it's all over the place, all over the map, which means we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to make up for, because I actually missed the show last night due to some weather issues and not feeling very well. So I wanted to make sure that I did this one tonight, but we've got so much to talk about, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to fit it all into an hour. So if nothing else, we may pick up the conversation again tomorrow, back when I'm live with you again. Now, what do you say we go ahead and get things started officially? Folks, and again, this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We've got so much to talk about, I'm not sure we're going to be able to fit it all in. But before we do that, as we do every opening of the show, I want to take just a moment to thank everybody for taking the time to tune in. Whether you listen live, Memorex, podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FM Player, Blueberry, or any other place you can check out the podcast version of the show. Just want to take a moment to say thank you for taking the time to listen. If you do happen to listen to iTunes and you like what we're doing there, make sure you give us a vote. We're actually trying to see if we can start working on raising the profile for iTunes a bit. Of course, we're not asking you to do anything you wouldn't do anyway, so if you don't listen on there, don't worry about it. But if you happen to listen to us on iTunes and you like what we're doing, make sure you give us a vote. Now, as far as everywhere else the show can be heard, of course, we're on Monday through, Sunday through Thursday, and then we're on Saturday mornings. So Sunday through Thursday on KLRNradio.com at 10 p.m. Eastern, and we do a special Week in Review edition on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then, of course, we're on AMFM247.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We are on Red Nation Rising Radio, the Liberty Channel, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern. We're also available on CRNTalk.com every Saturday and Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, 7 Pacific. So whether you're catching us at one of the affiliates, whether you're listening live, whether you're listening in Memorex, whatever the case may be, I just want to take a moment to say thank you very much for taking the time to listen. We're going to go ahead and get this next break out of the way, or this first break out of the way, so we can get things kicked off. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We'll be back in just a little over a minute.
Enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Alright, folks, so what do you say we start the show with the most absurd story of the day? That has to be the Day Without Women. So we have a group of feminists, or they like to call themselves feminists. I'm not sure that the actual feminist of the world would agree with them calling themselves that, but they've decided that they're going to hold a protest tomorrow, and they're going to go march to show the world how important women are, which means there's going to be women probably all over the country that don't come into work, that, don't do the things that they normally would do on a regular basis, which means for those of you that are like me, and if you happen, well, actually not like me, because I'm lucky I don't have a feminist spouse, but some of you aren't getting sandwiches tomorrow. I just want to make sure that you're aware. So you may want to pack your lunch on your own, or maybe grab some money from the ATM, because there's not going to be any, there's going to be certain people that just don't get sandwiches tomorrow, all because we have to have a day without women. I mean, I personally, for those of you who haven't seen my Twitter picture, you can go look. I can skip a sandwich or two. It won't be a problem, but it wouldn't be an issue for me anyway, because I don't happen to be married to a feminist. I also don't happen to be married to one of these crazy feminists that is protesting because, there's like this whole nickel disparity, where the guy sitting next to me makes 5 cents an hour more than I do. Never mind the fact that he's been here 5 years and he just got that nickel yesterday, and it's the only raise he's ever gotten, and I've only been here for 6 months. But it's not fair because he's a man, I'm a woman, we should make the same amount of money. Okay, so let's just talk about this for real for just a second. I'm really at this point not trying to alienate anyone or upset anyone, so I apologize if I do. Because we can make jokes about it, and I could probably fill up the whole hour with the jokes about this whole Day Without Women thing. But it's time to talk seriously. Because in this country, you as a woman have the ability to do the same things that I have the ability to do. You get to go to school. You get to learn. You get to learn to read. You get to learn to write. You get to learn about history. You get to do things that other women in the world only dream about. You get to drive a car. You get to leave your house in public, or you get to leave your house, go out in public without covering your entire body and without having to make sure one of your brothers or some sort of a male escort is with you. And you want to talk about how unfair America is towards women. You guys seriously need to start taking a harder look at the rest of the world if you think we're that bad. Because there are plenty of places that have it much worse, trust me. There are countries where women are not allowed to drive. Much less the women that we have that are now flying combat planes. I'm not sure if they're actually flying them in combat roles, but they are flying combat planes. We have women pretty much in every single profession in this country, and yet things are so terrible for women. Kellyanne Conway, as much as I didn't like the Trump campaign, and as much as I'm starting to dislike the Trump administration thanks to this whole revamping of the Obamacare situation, or the Affordable Care Act, or the Americans Insurance Care, or whatever they're going to call it now. The simple fact of the matter is she was a woman who was actually, I believe, the first woman in history to run a successful presidential campaign to get their person they were working for elected into the White House. Nobody talks about that because they can't, because it doesn't fit with this narrative. It doesn't fit with the narrative of, oh my God, if you're a woman, then you have things much harder than men do. Oh my God, if you're a person of color, you have things much harder than anyone that's a white person that's not a person of color does. And oh my God, if you're transgender, then everybody's out to kill you. Not in this country, but in plenty of others. Oh, I mean, in certain places, Saudi Arabia, Iraq still, Syria, they throw gay people off roofs. But you guys are mad because we don't want to bake them cakes. And it's not that we don't want to bake them cakes in general. Hey, tell me you're throwing a birthday party. I'll happily bake you a birthday cake if I'm a baker. But if you're getting married, maybe you should take that business somewhere else if you know that I have an issue with you being married because it flies in the face of my religious beliefs. I'm not telling you I don't like you. I'm not telling you I don't respect you. But here's the problem, and this is evident everywhere, and today proved it to me. We have become a bunch of spineless jellyfish. We are so worried about offending anyone that we can no longer stand up for anything. At least that's the one, I guess, positive thing about this Day Without Women thing. At least they feel passionate enough about something that they're actually going to try to stand up for it. Most of the country anymore just caves. But is what they're standing up for going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Because if you're protesting because of the things that are going on elsewhere in the world, where women don't have the same rights as you, don't have the ability to vote, don't have the ability to hold down a job, they're not even allowed to drive, can't leave the house without covering themselves from head to toe. And if you're doing it because of those things, then I salute you. But if you're doing it because America is so much worse to women than they are than to men, then I have a problem. Because America actually elevates women. Not only do we elevate women as a whole, we've made you our equal. Because there was a time that wasn't the case. I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree with it, but there was a time that women and men were not considered equal. I have this thrown in my face about once a month. We consider these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Every once in a while, I'll get an email or a tweet from somebody or a DM from them and be like, well, if you think conservatism is so great and the Constitution is so wonderful, why doesn't it ever talk about women in the Constitution? Don't really have an answer for that. All I can tell you is at that time, men were predominantly the group that held jobs, held political offices, did all the things, and women stayed home and they made babies and they cooked and they cleaned. Not saying whether I agree or I disagree with it, but that's what it was. So, but the thing with this whole Day Without Women thing is they seem to think that's what they're protesting now. There's been a whole group that you guys can just, either go back to work or roll over and hit your snooze bar and go back to sleep, because there was a whole group that came before you that's fixed all of this already. They've made sure that you have the right to vote. They've made sure that you have the ability to go out and get a job if you choose. They also have made sure that you have the ability to stay home if you choose. However, most women that I know that are stay-at-home moms get ridiculed by their own peers. And they're like, well, oh my God, I can't believe you're a stay-at-home mom. You're setting everything back 50 years. If that's what they want to do, if they're being made to stay home, that's one thing. But if they actually legitimately want to stay home, and I know a couple of people that have made that decision, and I was happy for them when they were able to do that. Because if we were in a position financially where I could tell my wife, hey, look, at this point, you've worked 20 years. I'm going on working 23, almost 24 years. So I think it's about time, maybe you get a chance to relax for a little bit, and maybe you should retire a little bit before I do. If I could get us in a position where I could allow her to do that, and it was something that she wanted to do, it would make me ecstatic to be able to be in a position to be able to let my wife stay home and do the things that she wants to do during the day while I'm off making money. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's part of the problem. We have these predefined roles of how everything is supposed to be, regardless of anything and everything else. And we think that's all that matters. Because if you're a woman and you're not out trying to make your way through the world and bust your way through that glass ceiling that I guess according to them still exists because Hillary Clinton wasn't elected president, then you yourself are doing something wrong. But we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we get back. Again, this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We're up for a break. We have got to get out of here, pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Comatose, half-hearted, room temperature's fine. Sleepwalking, no dreamers, even filling our minds. Earth shaking, we be quaking like a wake-up bomb. This ain't no trouble overseas, no Vietnam.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Hardin. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails, coming to you live on KLRNradio.com. If you're listening elsewhere, remember we're available on AMFM247.com, SHRmedia.com, RedNationRisingRadio.com, CRNTalk.com, and various podcast affiliates and sites elsewhere. So if you're not sure where to find us, hit me up. I'll let you know. But if you're looking, you should be able to find us pretty easily. We're just about everywhere. All right, so I'm going to take a bit of a lead from the chat room at this point. We have Ron hanging out with us again. Seems to pretty much the guy that's always hanging out with us during live broadcasts. So good evening, Mr. Ron. Actually, he has a couple of good points about this Day Without Women thing. Because, this whole thing is supposed to be about equality. These are the same people that have, like, the WPBA and the WNBA and the WPGA. And yet they're talking about how they need equality. Then why do you keep basically asking for your own groups? Because that's what's happening. Because they know on some level that they can't compete with the men in certain ways, so they ask for female versions of the same sports to give them the ability to be as equal as possible and still be competitive. So I have a problem with that, because if you really, really want to be equal, as you say you do, then stop using the advantages that are afforded you because you're a woman. Because there are, whether anybody wants to admit it or not. But this Day Without Women thing, I think we've spent just about enough time on it. Because believe it or not, we're already getting pretty close to the bottom of the hour. At least we would be if we started on time. We're actually rounding to the top of the hour at this point. But for show clock purposes, we have about 4 minutes to the bottom of the hour break. So, in closing, I guess about the Day Without Women thing, I know plenty of women that are going to do what I feel every woman should be doing, and they should be out doing whatever they feel they need to do to make their lives better, their families' lives better, to earn an income, whatever else it is that they typically do on a daily basis. Those are the things that we need to be doing, because we don't need to focus on a day without women. Women are important. I'll be the first one to tell you women are important. I'll be the first one to tell you that if it wasn't for a woman, I wouldn't be here. But here's the other part of that equation. Because, for those of you that are suddenly deciding you're going to go become women of the Amazon and you don't need men, at some point you're going to have children. Unless you're going to bust out a turkey baster, at some point you're going to need a guy to make that happen. Now, I know... with science the way it is now, you don't necessarily have to have the act, but you still need the building blocks. So it takes, tab A going into slot B, in layman's terms, and you can get there now in a petri dish. But you still have to have the genetic code of the man to make that happen. So for all of you that keep thinking that you can't live without women, just to not put too fine of a point on it, you women wouldn't be here without a man. And I know that makes me sound sexist, and I'm sorry if that offends someone. Actually, no, I'm kind of not sorry if it offends anyone, because it's the truth. I wouldn't be here without a woman, and I'm a man, and as a woman, you wouldn't be here without a man, and it's time that we face the facts that we're better together than we are apart. That's part of another thing this society is doing. They're trying to tell us that we don't need each other anymore because love is love. No, it's not. And I'm sorry if that upsets some of you, but the simple fact of the matter is it's not the same thing. It's really not. And this is coming from someone who has friends and family that are gay. I've tried to have this conversation with them. They won't have it, but it doesn't mean that I don't still love them. But I'm trying to make them understand that, if you're gay or you're transgender or you're a cross-dresser or whatever the case may be, there's probably an issue somewhere else that needs to be addressed for that to have started being okay for you at some point. And the problem with that is, and the thing that nobody talks about, is if you actually talk to people that have been in that lifestyle, there's usually some sort of a traumatic event that triggers it. And nobody talks about that. This came out with the whole Milo thing a few weeks ago. because there was a traumatic experience for him that he decided that he was old enough to deal with, even though he was only 13, that shaped the rest of his life. Because he was groomed by someone. These things happen. I've seen it happen. I've watched it happen. I've tried to stop it from happening and couldn't do it. But I'll be damned if I didn't try. So for us to keep being told that we have to normalize things like this whole Day Without Women, or, you know, this recent miniseries that ABC did, which tanked, by the way. It was one of the least watched things they've put out in the last 5 years. This whole When We Rise thing that they made this huge deal about that went through the floor. Because look, folks, they're making you think that this is everywhere. They are a very small percentage of our population. And I'm sorry, if you really look it up, homosexuality, transgenderism, and everything else associated with that was actually labeled as a form of mental retardation. I'm not saying that to be mean, but if you look it up, that's what it was classified as. We need to stop normalizing the abnormal. And that's said not out of hate, but out of the fact that I'm coming from this from a perspective where I actually understand some things that apparently a few people don't. We weren't made for that. Anyway, I'm starting to get a little preachy, so I should probably take another commercial break. We've hit the bottom of the hour anyway. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We'll be back here in just about 4 minutes.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500. Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Hardin to see and purchase his books.
Welcome back, folks. We're about halfway through the show at this point. We're going to go ahead and change gears because I think I've spent way too much time talking about this Day Without Women thing. It'll be interesting to figure out how many women in the workforce are unemployed effective Thursday, though. Now, I have some audio from Mark Levin about this whole Russian wiretap thing that I told you we were going to get to on this particular show. So we're going to go ahead and cue that up and get it started now. This is from a stint that he did on the weekend edition of Fox and Friends.
Well, pleasure to be here. The evidence is overwhelming. This is not about President Trump's tweeting. This is about the Obama administration's spying. And the question isn't whether it's spied. We know they went to the FISA court twice. The question is, who did they spy on? The extent of the spying. That is, the Trump campaign, the Trump transition, Trump surrogates. And I want to walk you through this, the American people. Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1. This is all public. Head Street. 2 separate sources with links to the counterintelligence community have confirmed that the FBI sought and was granted a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court. This is spying. In October, giving counterintelligence permission to examine the activity of, quote, U.S. persons in Donald Trump's campaign with ties to Russia. Let me go on. This isn't me. They say the first FISA request, sources say, named Trump, was denied back in June, denied by the court. But the second was drawn more narrowly and was granted in October after evidence was presented of a server possibly related to the Trump campaign and its alleged links to 2 banks. Now, sources suggest that a FISA warrant was granted to look at the full content of emails and other related documents that may concern U.S. persons. Now, I know people are hung up with Trump's word wiretapping. Well, how'd they get access to this server information? Does it really matter if it was wiretapping, electronic surveillance, or whatever it was? Exhibit 2, The Guardian, a well-known right-wing British paper. Here it is, quote, The Guardian has learned the FBI applied for a warrant from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court over the summer in order to monitor 4 members of the Trump team suspected of irregular contacts with Russian officials. Keep in mind, this is during a presidential election. The sitting president, the incumbent party, is now investigating the presidential candidate of the Republican Party and his campaign to some extent. The FISA court turned down the application asking FBI counterintelligence investigators to narrow its focus. According to one report, the FBI was finally granted a warrant in October. Exhibit 3, McClatchy, another well-known right-wing newspaper. Here they have the agencies. Headline, FBI, 5 other agencies. 5 other Obama administration agencies probe possible covert Kremlin aid to Trump. The FBI and 5 other law enforcement intelligence agencies have collaborated for months in an investigation into Russian attempts to influence the November election, including whether money from Kremlin covertly aided presidential-elect Donald Trump. 2 people familiar with the matter said the agencies involved in the inquiry are the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Justice Department, the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and representatives of the Director of the National Intelligence. Are you telling me Barack Obama didn't know what was going on in 6 agencies?
As you go on, how are you? Okay, keep going.
I'm not done. I need to make the case because the media seems to be confused about their own reporting. New York Times, another well-known liberal outlet, intercepted Russian communications, part of inquiry into Trump associates, January 19. The FBI is leading the investigations, aided by the NSA, the CIA, Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Unit. The investigators have accelerated their efforts in recent weeks, but have found no conclusive evidence of wrongdoing. Listen to this. One official said intelligence reports based on some of the wiretap communications have been provided to the White House. This is the New York Times,
another
my
right-wing
exhibit
outlet.
4.
Another right-wing outlet,
Let's continue.
All right, so, I mean, that actually goes on for about another 8 minutes. I mean, honestly, if you want to go look it up yourself on YouTube, you're welcome to listen to the whole thing. You can just search Mark Levin proves Trump wiretapping claims, and it will pull straight up for you. It's a full 12 minutes and 30 seconds. There's only a little bit of back and forth, so most of it is Levin laying out the case. I think he's done a pretty good job of it there at the point where we're cutting it, though, because here's the point, folks. We actually have had what appears to be a sitting president spying on a presidential candidate. Now, I seem to remember in the 60s there was this little thing called Watergate where a president had wiretapped a hotel room, recorded some audio, and then was trying to do everything he could to make sure nobody knew that he had done those things. He even deleted some of the tape. And when everybody found out he was impeached, there were people that actually went to federal prison, and yet nothing, the media, crickets. I mean, those papers that Levin was talking about, we're not talking about, this isn't Breitbart. This isn't, Red Alert News. We're talking about left-leaning papers that are like, hey, guys, this really did happen. This is what we're finding. So if they're even starting to have a problem with it, why are we at least not taking a look at it? Because look, again, I'll be the first one to tell you, I am not always a fan of the Trump administration. One of the things that I'm really unhappy about, we're actually going to talk about in the last segment, and that's the fact that he promised he was going to repeal and replace, and yet apparently that's not going to happen now. But I'm also not okay with a sitting president spying on another candidate. That is a problem for me. And the more we look into this, the more we find that apparently that may be what's happening. Because I think this whole Russian thing was actually a smokescreen. Now, what a lot of people didn't seem to pick up on that I started picking up on about 3 weeks ago is it seems like Trump is actually using the smokescreen. Because look at some of the things that they are trying to pass through Congress right now. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But nobody's talking about them because they're too busy talking about the Russians. And did the Russians do what did the Russians do? When did they do it? When did we know that they did it? That's been the extent of the media coverage now for weeks. Rand Paul has even gone on to a couple of shows to try to let people know, hey, while you guys are over here talking about the Russians, the Congress is trying to basically eliminate the debt ceiling. That's not a good thing. They're talking about not repealing Obamacare, but fixing it. That's not a good thing. All right, but we'll get into that whole Obamacare thing here in just a couple of minutes. It is about time for us to take another really quick break. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We'll be back here in just about 2 minutes.
$0251. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Hardin to see and purchase his books.
All right, folks, welcome back. Well, we're just about into the last segment of the show here at this point. But like I said, we're going to change gears. We're going to talk a little bit about the Republican plan to repeal and replace Obamacare, which seems to be something that was hastily thrown together maybe by a couple of college kids while they were out playing beer pong. But we have some audio clips about it that try to put a more positive spin on it. So we're going to let you hear some of this and see what you think, because as a conservative, I'm not really happy. These are some clips from the press conference that was done today, at the time this was recorded, which was March 7th. So here is some information about some of the things that the Republicans are looking at doing. So here we go.
Mom or a dad out there and you make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, your deductible in this market, in that individual and small group market, oftentimes is $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a year. What that means is that you've got an insurance card, but you don't get care because you can't afford the deductible. And we know that this is happening by talking to the folks who are out there trying to provide the care.
All right, so we know this is true because I've actually talked to people that, their deductibles have tripled since Obamacare. But again, we sent Republicans to D.C. because they told us, if you send us there, we're not going to fix it. We're going to get rid of it. And yet now they're talking about fixing it. Why is it they're talking about fixing it?
Now, the principles that we have as our guiding star are affordability. We want a system that's affordable for everybody. Accessibility. We need a system that's accessible for everybody. A system that's of the highest quality. A system that incentivizes innovation in the healthcare system, and a system that empowers patients through both transparency and accountability.
Why do we need a government system at all? That's what you guys said you were going to fix when you got to D.C. You were going to get rid of the Obamacare mess by making sure that we didn't have any type of government-mandated health care. Government-funded health care. The government meddling in our health care. You guys have run on that for 8 years. 8 years you've told us, put us back in D.C., we'll fix it. We'll make sure it's gone. The ACA will be no more. Obamacare won't exist, and we can figure out how to fix it a better way. Why are we not going to get a clean repeal? Look, I'll even admit that I will concede the point that you guys are talking about doing a replace. But you were supposed to do a repeal first. You're not doing a repeal. You're cutting the edges of the quilt off and sewing it back together in your own pattern. That's not a repeal. That's not even a replace. That's a screw you, we didn't mean it, but thanks for the vote. That's what that is.
A third of the counties in the United States, 1/3 of the counties in the United States have only one insurer offering coverage on the exchange. 5 states only have one insurer offering coverage on the exchange. One insurer is not a choice. So we need to make certain that we correct that. In Tennessee this morning, it was announced that there are a number of counties that have no insurer offering coverage on the exchange. Insurers are leaving the market on the exchange.
Oh, well, I wonder why they're leaving the market. Because it's broken. You don't need to fix it. You need to do away with it. Let the market fix it. You guys want to know how to fix the Obamacare fiasco really, really quickly? You wipe it out. Then you make insurance portable across state lines and affordable and actually able to be sold across state lines. Because I got to tell you something else. In the line of work that I do, I see people all day, every day that are providing insurance because they live in a place like California. And they're trying to provide insurance for people that live in Tennessee. But they can't because even though they're paying for it, it doesn't work there. There are things that need to be fixed. I will be the first one to tell you there are things that need to be addressed, but they do not need to be addressed by the government. The government is not the end-all, be-all solution for everything that we deal with on a regular daily basis. That was not what the Founding Fathers intended. That was not what we were told the Republicans were going to do if we gave them the White House again, and we did. Now, call Donald Trump whatever you want, but he officially ran as a Republican. So we gave the Republicans the Congress, we gave the Republicans the Senate, and we gave the Republicans the White House. Even if he might as well be a Democrat wearing a Republican suit, which, again, listening to what he talked about during his joint session of Congress, there should have been a lot of happy Democrats that night, and there weren't. There should have been a lot of angry Republicans that night, and there weren't those either. Because he said a lot of things that should have set off bells, whistles, and alarms all over the place, but nobody noticed. It's like all the little trigger words that Obama used to use that nobody picked up on. Fundamentally transforming America. Well, he's done that because he's now basically made sure that there's an entire population that now and forever will be dependent on our government, which is the last thing our founding fathers wanted. They are officially at this point rolling over in their graves because we have traded liberty for security. And it's a very scary time to be alive because people are doing it on their own. The government isn't making them do it. They're not forcing them to do it. They're willingly doing it. Because now, we even tried to stand up and we said, hey, these guys are saying they're going to fix it, so send them over. Let them do what they said they're going to do. And now they're not. Big surprise. All right, we got to take one more break. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. More on this and then a quick goodbye, and then we're actually on our way out the door. We'll be right back here in about 3 minutes.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Hardin. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Hardin to see and purchase his books.
Alright folks, that's going to do it for this particular episode of America Off the Rails, or just about anyway. But just as a recap, tomorrow if you are worried about that Day Without Women participation thing, just remember they did that Day Without Immigrants thing not too long ago, and we survived that, so I'm sure we'll survive the Day Without Women. As far as this Affordable Care Act thing, I'm not sure we're going to survive that. Because they told us if we sent them to D.C., they were going to make sure that it went away, and they would make sure that we didn't have to deal with government-run healthcare anymore. And apparently they lied. Like them or lump them, they lied. There's only a handful of folks that are up there in D.C. that are still saying, hey, we need to fix this. Like, I know it wasn't the Heritage Foundation, there was somebody else that as soon as this hodgepodge and this conglomerate of a mess hit the floor, all of a sudden they're coming out saying, okay, we need to amend it for this, we need to amend it for this, we need to amend it for that. And then, of course, Lord Cheesy Poof takes to Twitter and is like, oh, don't worry about it, we're going to have Phase 2 and Phase 3, so the portability and the affordability across state lines will be taken care of in Phase 2. You guys are going to be lucky if you see Phase 2. And you're planning this stuff out over like the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Are you crazy? You should have led with that at least, because that probably would have actually helped. This is going to be a mess. This is going to be a disaster. This is going to be the Republicans trying to rebrand something and slap their sticker on it and say like, okay, it's fine now because we did it. Don't worry, it's okay now because well you see, the only reason we didn't think Obamacare was going to work was because because it said Obama. So it's okay, because now it's GOP care, and we're going to make it all better. And it's going to be fixed because we're going to fix the pricing, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. No, you're not. You're offering us the same thing. It's exactly the same way I felt during this whole election, because at one point it became a choice between a crap sandwich and a crap burrito. No matter which one I picked, the outside might have looked a little different, but the inside basically the same. This is what's going to happen with the ACA, the new version of it. It's going to basically be the same thing, which is not what you told you. What's not what you told us you were going to do. So, Ryan, all of you idiots in D.C., do what we told you to do. Do what you told us you were going to do. You morons work for us, not the other way around. And the fact that you keep trying to find ways to make the government more and more of our master and less of us being its master concerns me to no end. Because it has literally become, the fact is that that politics is a brand war. It now no longer matters whether you pull the lever for D, pull the lever for R, because they tell you one thing and they do something else when you listen to what they tell you. This is happening again, and it's happening already. Let this part sink in, okay? Usually they give us all the good stuff first for at least a year or so. And then once the honeymoon phase is over, then we realize they're back to drinking. Then we realize they're back to smoking. Then we realize they're back to gambling all our money away. And if we try to call them on it, they're like, "Ooh, come! Don't you talk to me like that." Anyway, bad analogy, but same basic feeling, because we keep listening to what they tell us time and time again, and they keep telling us this time it'll be different. This time it'll be better. This time we're going to make it right. And they're screwing us over again. Sorry, I'm not going to hold back on it anymore. I have been trying to be diplomatic for the last several weeks, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I will still praise the Trump administration when I think it does something that it should do, but I will be damned if I'm going to not call them out when they do something wrong. And this is something wrong. This is not why we sent Republicans to D.C. This is not what they told us they were going to do if we sent Republicans to D.C. All right, so on that note, folks, I am out. Otherwise, I'm going to keep talking, and I don't have time to do another hour. I mean, as much as I probably could at this point because I'm really, really angry and I really, really want to rant, but I'm not gonna. So I'm out for the night, folks. Now, because of some technical issues, we did get a later start than usual. Rhino Report has already dropped, so if you want to go back and listen to that, you're welcome to. And at least if you're listening to us on KLRNradio.com. If you're listening elsewhere, just check your local listings. I'm sure they have something just as awesome, probably even better than me coming up right after. Have a great day, folks. Take care. God bless.